So good evening, welcome to OTE week on the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne. It's been a really busy weekend. We were up at the National Trophy and managed to catch up with lots and lots of members of the DCG gang. So great to see everybody up there. Massive thank you for coming up and saying hello. If you did, or a wave or whatever, we kind of worked out who everybody was just about by the end of the weekend. It's been busy as well. And we're going into OTE week. OTE, of course, long-term supporters of the Donny Chaingang, and they have been helping us out pretty much basically since day one. Annie Simpson, all of the gang up in Leeds, doing an amazing job of keeping everybody fueled up, rehydrated, and able to ride the chain gang time and time again. And it is absolutely critical that we have our riders in and riding the chain gang regularly fueled up and hydrated, quite simply because otherwise you end up in a bit of a mess and you're not going to be fit to ride the next one. Now, as part of the development of OTE have actually been developing their indoor package. Now, the indoor package contains everything you need: pre-fueling, fueling during the ride, then a gel for that kick from that go, and to finish it off, recovery drink as well. Now, we've got some packs to give away to the members of the DCG gang. For those of you who don't know what the DCG gang is, it's a supporters club of the Donny Chaingang, and it basically means that every time we break one of these things, a cable, a headset, a mic, whether we're covering the cost of the lines coming in and out and the internet, whether or not it is keeping Russ on the road, me in the studio, that's how we keep it covered. And that is done quite simply by the donations of the members of the DCG gang. So if you remember, thank you guys. Really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Without you guys, the show just doesn't happen. We just don't keep on bringing it to people, and we don't manage to get it out to all of the riders. So a massive thank you from myself, from us, and from everybody. Now, we're going to dive into the giveaway because we have 5 packs to give away to our members. And we're pretty old school on the Chain Gang because it is one rider, one prize. And that means that we're going to give away 5 today. That means that we're going to start off with 1 in 95 odds, and it's 1 in 90 by the time we finish. We're going to do 5 more on Thursday, and if nobody else joins going between now and then we've got to keep on going in. So we are going to be bringing our Chain Gang riders all of the goodies that come out, and it is to our riders, our members of the DCG gang. So DCG gang members, you're named A to X at the moment. Still no Z. We need a Z. Somebody give us a Z. Come on, there must be somebody called with their name beginning with Z who's going to join. So it is A to X, and we have 1 is A, 95 is X, and on the way through, all those members have a number. Now, our fantastic random number generator is in action. There we go. Up and running already. Now, it's on the screen over there for me, so quite literally is in the right place for me to see what the numbers are. We're going to do 5 stops on the way. 5 stops for the members of the OTE gang. They get 5 bites of the cherry tonight, 5 bites of the cherry on Thursday, and all courtesy of OTE. A massive thank you to them. So, first of our numbers is going to be number 90. So number 90, that is going to be our first rider. And I'm just taking a look. That is going to be Tim Leary. Tim, you have just got yourself the very first of the prizes. So first of all is Tim. Let's restart the numbers. Up and running again. So Tim Leary, you are number 1 tonight. Tim getting the prize. Now you can't win 2. So who's going to be the next one? Number 74. That is Richard Samuel. So you're going to get the second one. Richard taking away our second of our OTE. Love this. Got loads to give away. It's like Christmas all over again. Let's start the generator. So first of the prize going to Tim Leary. Then going to Richard Samuel. Let's see where our next one of those 5 are going to go. It's going to go to number 93. Trevor Crehan. Trevor, you are the third of our winners tonight. Well done to Trevor. Told you, see, this is down at the end of the alphabet. We're going to get some single-digit ones. Who knows? It is a truly random program we use on this. It's not just a really simple algorithm. Next up, number 31. That is going to be himself, his lordship himself. That is Greg Pillsworth. So, Greg, well done, mate. Greg Pilsner's going to get the 4th of the packs, and that means that we have one more to give away for OTE tonight. So one more of the packs. So we've had so far Tim Leary, Richard Samuel, Trevor Crehan, Greg Pilsworth, who is going to take away the 5th pack. Stops at number 42, and that is going to be John Garfoot. John, you are the 5th of our winners tonight. So Tim, Trevor, Richard, John, and Greg. Guys, we'll be getting you those details out. We'll be in touch very, very shortly. 5 packs of indoor training bundles, and members, all the details are in the email that goes out every single week. Every single round, we make sure that our members get the heads up, not just of the prizes, of where we're going. We're going to press some essential buttons up on the screens over there that you can't see, which is to save who's won. Always important. Otherwise, we have to play it back on the video. So let's get rid of our giveaway screen on the 5 winners. Well done, gang. And we're going to jump across over here, and we are going to go down to the screens. Now, you can just see screen up and rolling over across on the far side, which means that everybody is in and ready, which means it must be time to try and get hold of the one and only bear. Now, let's see if we can get hold of the one and only Russ Downing, who hopefully is on the end of the phone line somewhere. He says famously, hopefully we have a Russ on the end of the line, ready to go. So, Russ, are you there, mate?
I'm here, mate. Yeah.
That's always a start. This is good. This is good. We'll go with a start that you are actually here. Great night tonight. PC night on the old random number generator. 5 packs given away. That is some going, and really good to get them out to the members of the DCG gang who keep the whole show on the road.
Yeah, that's good. I heard 3 of the names. The other 2 I was doing pop music was too loud. So, but yeah, congratulations, guys. And yeah, so get in contact and we'll get your packages out to you. Hopefully you'll look after you. And I think Simon put on there. Great product. We can't do without on the gang nowadays,
Definitely. So Tim Leary, Richard Samuel, Trevor Crehan, Greg Pilsworth and John Garfoot. I'll be sending you an email, and then once that's come back to me, we'll be getting you in touch with OTE to get you out there. So well done to our 5 riders and 5 people who are regulars on the chain gang.
Yeah, that's nice. We've seen those guys right from the start, and the regulars, the paid membership, they deserve to win the prizes. So that's as simple as it is, really. Those guys keep the show on the road, so they deserve some rewards.
Indeed, and they're going to need it tonight, because tonight we have what is one of our tough routes on the Donny Chaingang. We're in the home of OTE in Yorkshire, and I know that all of the OTE staff basically have ridden around this route one way or another, because actually I've seen some of them racing around here as well. So it is a tough route. Now, we're using the World Championship circuit, but we're going to do it the opposite way round. So that gives us a slightly different profile, but they're steeper climbs with a more gradual downhill, basically.
Yeah, like you say, it's one of them. It's 6 of one, half a dozen the other. Is this one easier? I'm not sure. It probably works better for a chain gang. We've not got straight out the blocks up Fotley Road, which really is a killer one for the riders and even harder for me to control on a chain gang. So this is good. And then sometimes it can slightly come back together on that final lap after going the last time up the steep climb. So yeah, let's see. We'll have good fun. 3 laps. So the usual 1 lap easy, 1 lap slightly harder, 1 lap who dares wins roughly.
Indeed, and it is. It's definitely one of those that we know is going to be tough stuff for the riders, because Pot Bank itself, I always remember we used to race down it rather than up it, in fairness, which was I always thought was much better. Trying to race back up it is just not my idea of fun. I mean, we saw enough people go flying off the side of it when we were out and racing before now.
Yeah, it's always good. It's good to be online now doing this. We saw everyone at the World Championships fighting with the weather, the elements. There's only I think a couple of races that had good weather throughout that week. So, it'll be nice and dry tonight. I don't think we'll be warm though. The temperature's really dropped, haven't it? And I see pictures of pain caves all over that the temperatures are, they're all dropping. But I don't mind sat on about 13.5 degrees at the minute. So it's not bad.
No, that's not too bad. I think the one here is about 7 degrees. The studio's about 27 degrees down here, so quite the opposite, but we'll see. So we're going to let you get off and brief the troops. A real mixed gang here. Good to see that we've got Xander Graham now, the new cross champ. We've got people like Ruby Isaacs, who was up at the cross as well. So lots of the people we saw over the weekend. So we'll catch up with you soon, Russ. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate, and enjoy that temperature. Don't forget to hydrate if you're sat on that chair at 27 degrees. That's going to be a tough ride.
Oh, no chair. I had to get rid of it, mate. But before you do so, it was getting squeaky. But yeah, definitely hydration. I was actually out on the mountain bike today, so this is about the 6th bottle of OTE today. I must admit, I'm going through it like there's no tomorrow. I'll be getting the lorry load coming back in again because we do practice what we preach. This stuff. If it'll keep me going, it'll keep anybody going, to be honest. So cheers, Russ. We'll catch you soon.
Cheers, mate. Enjoy.
So great to catch up with Russ, who is in his pay game. Let's drop across to where we are heading out on the course. We're on about 2 minutes 44 to go, so we're just about going to make it. And we don't need to follow them straight out of the gun because it's always good to get everybody on the way out. And we're going to drop across to the map now. UCI Worlds Reverse. This is a 13.8k lap, so 3 laps of this with basically a drop down away from the start, round the small circuit onto the big circuit and the big chase back round. We finish at the UCI Worlds Gantry at 41.4k, which should give us about 1.6k warm down, chat, catch up and banter space at the end. Our beacon is a man for whom the bake-off is no challenge, judging by his bus picture this week. It is Jason Stevens, so good to have Jason, one of our fantastic volunteers, on the chain gang, making sure that the gang's at the end. And good to see so many messages coming in that people have who have one are actually on the gang tonight, so always good to see. So tonight we are in the Yorkshire. We're in the UCI Reverse. It is a 41.4k ride to the gantry. Now, the map looks straightforward. Are you ready? Don't say I didn't warn you. This is what you've got coming. 3 full laps of the UCI Harrogate Circuit Reverse. You can see that it's basically 3 sets of climbs. The drop off the start, the slight little rise of the circuit is the first bump that you go up. The second bump that you go up is a KOM. The third bump you're going up is going up to the roundabout. The fourth bump that you go up takes you over and towards Pot Bank. The red section is Pot Bank. You've got Pot Bank climb. You drop down. There's a slight rise, then you drop back down in towards the start. This is what you've got kicking at you on the way around that circuit. So many climbs. The total height on this is in the 600 to 700 metre range, which is our big hilly Tuesday day. The good news is Thursday we're on a map special and it is a lot flatter than this one, which is going to make a lot of people very happy. So if I were you, I'd make sure I would fueled up plenty of times for those 3 red climbs of Pot Bank. Absolutely grim, particularly if you've got your turbo trainer turned all the way to 100% and don't have a big sprocket on there. So that is a warning, guys. Make sure that you fuel up when you rehydrate. This is going to be a biggie. It's the Donny Chaingang. It ain't easy. It is the Donny Chaingang live here on the Downhill Cycling YouTube channel. As you can see at the moment, our riders going into that go mark, and that means that they are away. Our riders just setting off. We are going to try and jump in with, let's see if we can jump in with one of our regulars here. We're going to jump in with Rich Orrell. out on the course, so our riders are already heading out onto circuit and just making the way out of those pens. Now, if we drop some stats in for Rich, don't forget you can keep up with all the details on the companion app. We have our watts up at the top, we have our revs in there. Heart rate, if Rich had it on, would be just alongside the revs. Central screen, key essentials: speed, distance, height, and time elapsed. Then on the right hand side the map, which gives us a multitude of views, which includes of course the map zoomed in and out on 2D, as well as our 3D map in there. We also have down the right hand side over there, and you can just see the riders around Rich at the moment, so we can actually just see who is around him. Our camera is able to jump up and down now. We have well over 100 riders actually on the Chaingang today, and it does mean, key point on all Zwift rides, you will only ever see the 100 nearest riders on the Zwift ride. That means that you need to make sure that if you are on the front, you're aware of where that red beacon is, and that is Mr. Stevens. You can just see all of a sudden people dropping in beside you. You can see that train of riders coming through, and that is because there are a lot more than 100 riders on the ride, so the riders as they come in now jumping in. So it's all about getting that group back together. The instructions come from Russ across the middle of the screen, everybody else's message boards going down the far right hand side of the screen, so that makes a huge difference to keeping it together. So here on OTE week, let's dive into the ride. Our riders just heading out around the small circuit of the two on the first of the lumps and bumps out and around what is an incredibly hilly ride here. Tough day. It's from Yorkshire, so let's see how the riders are rolling out on the Donny Chaingang. So a real mix of riders on the Chaingang. Kieran Smith just motoring his way up onto the array. Just going to keep a check. Looks like Taylor just dropping at the back here. Mr. Richardson's in here. Craig Herring in here. Looks like Ted in the gang riding well at the moment. Speaking of Xander Graham, this is young Xander Graham, loving the hairstyle, dude. Mr. Xander Graham with that facial hair, with the big fro there, absolute sterling stuff. A young man who rode really well on the Chaingang. Just dropping back in with Russ at the moment. Just keeping a check on the riders around. Russ, remember the key here is to sit on top. Basically, it's all pile on Russ. He might only be a little fella, but he can take it. Don't worry. So John Garfoot, one of our winners on the OTE week, already tucked in here. Let's have a little bit of a look and just see John Garfoot in here, one of our winners. And that is what we want to see, the members of the DCG gang, and a pocket full of ride-ons as well. Let's add to those ride-ons. And that's going to drop one down on John, straight into the back pocket there. You'll see an AD Dench on the way through. Darren Topless here, and of course the dates for the National Mountain Bike Series out. Sherwood Pines, and this man, Darren Topless, organising round number 1 of the Mountain Bike National Series. So he is one of the key men in making that happen, and good to be out and around Pines today, actually out with the Indy the Trail Dog, who makes every now and then a cameo appearance down here in the studio if he's not eating the studio. Good to have Tickers back in the gang as well. Tom Lindley, young Tom in the gang. He will be having his name changed by default to Young Tom soon. Nice bike, by the way, mate. It's clearly been getting the miles in to get the money, to get the drops points for the bike. One of the real fast bikes on the game. Totally got that nailed. Looks like Mr. Woodall just dropping in at the back. So the gang coming together nicely at the moment. Looks like the team are in here. We're just going to work our way up through the gang here. Kuslix is in here. Mr. Booth in the gang. Tristan is back. Good to have you back, Tristan, mate. Tristan Emptich in the chain gang, and Tristan from Harrogate. Know all these rows inside out. Sorry, mate. You do go to France, though, on Thursday on a map special route, which should make things interesting. Good to see Eddie Dench is in here. Let's have a little bit of a run through. Beefy from Cycleways. Good to catch up with Beefy up at the National Trophy this weekend. Colin Bell up there, so Colin Sharon coming up and saying hi, which is good to see. Mr. Pillsworth is in here, one of our winners on the DCG gang, and another of our regular riders. A rider that we can almost always rely on to be going back for other riders and helping everybody out on the way out and around the gang. So great to have him on here as well. Looks like we've got the most addicted rider to the Chaingang ever.com almost. It is Tiff Fletcher. Tiff, of course, knows she's going to get some serious earache every time we see her on the real life, because she's always on the Chaingang, basically like a true addict. Comes back, rides regularly, so good to have Tiff on the Chaingang once again. Jimmy on the Wolf. The Wolf is the Bears stand-in when Russ is in action elsewhere. This man is the man who takes us through, and great riding by Jimmy and great leadership out and around the Greater London Flat Circuit last Thursday. It was a great ride, and good to see Jimmy. He pulled the pin really early, caught a few people out, and we wondered how long it would take people to work out. We did leave it deliberately for a while before we called it out on the screens as well. Rob Wimble in here, Mr. Topless, just going to work our way up through. Good to have Andy Verrill back on the Chaingang again. Andy again becoming one of our regulars, and anybody who's been racing in the continent probably owes a little bit of gratitude to him. Paul Mallin in here as well. So let's have a little look. Owen Davis in here. Looks like we've got Thomas in here. Thomas did a good ride at the weekend. I was very impressed by Thomas out of the National Trophy. A young man who really is improving this year well, and truly impressed by him. And Neil from the Crosscast right on his heels. So Neil from the Crosscast, and don't forget, of course, you can download the Crosscast on all of your playlists, on all of your podcast stations, so you can get hold of the podcast pretty much anywhere. And Neil just nicely tucked into the group there, just rolling around just in front of the yellow beacon. So the team coming round the corner. This is a section where we're doing a multitude of directions, basically the join of the two circuits, where the little circuit joins the big circuit. And now Neil from the Crosscast up on to the climb. So Neil nicely in this pack here. And don't forget, of course, you can download the latest Crosscast, which had our preview for the racing up in Sunderland. Great venue, great to see everybody up there. Now, just working our way around this group who are all mobbed up around the yellow beacon, which is exactly what we want to see. Simon Warren in here. We knew Hilly Route would attract Simon. The climbing addict, the man behind 100 climbs, as well as many of the other books, a key rider when it comes to making sure you've got the knowledge of what's happening out on the climbs. It's good to have him in here. Sean Ferran's back in, Bobby Mason in as well. So the aim to get everybody around on at least one lap tonight. So just running our way up through the Chaingang. So Stefano Borelli is in here, just trying to get hold of everybody. Carl Johnson in the gang. Looks like we've got Fiona Marshall back here with us. So Fiona riding. So good to have Fiona in the gang as well. Looks like Claire Richardson in here. Claire, of course, another of our regulars on the Chaingang. Very quick rider indeed, and going to be interesting to see who's going to be taking this. Let's see who goes in. So steadily working our way through the gang. Looks like, we've got Laura Lawson. So Aeonian squad, the second ranked in the world now. Second ranked squad, or is it number one in the world? I can never tell. One of our really fast teams when it comes to Zwift racing. The Aeonian squad represented here by Laura Lawson, and Laura, a regular racer out on the world of Zwift. Got Ruby Isaacs in here. Ruby, one of the great riders we managed to catch up with. It was absolutely a pleasure meeting up with Ruby and family up at the National Trophy. Ruby, one of the guests at the Kendall Mountain Festival as well, and definitely somebody to give a follow, and a young lady with a bright future, and racing of course out on the Chaingang as well, and racing at the National Trophy, which was good to see. Just steadily looking through our gang as we work our way up here. Looks like Thomas is in here, Beefy's in here, Mr. Clayton in here. Looks like Matt Taylor from Bolsover and District in the team. Mantis in here, Crusader, Velaskin. Don't forget, of course, if you remember the DCG gang discounts on Velaskin products as well. Absolutely critical to sit comfortably on the bike. And if you're an old gimmer like me, the soothing balm's really, really good. I have to say, to keep everything working as well. Annie Simpson in the gang, and we'll get hold of Annie in a minute as she comes absolutely rocketing up and past. Barry Kipling in. Barry, the organiser of the Kielder Mountain Marathon. Don't forget, Kielder's going to be our national championship marathon, so the XCM. And Barry Kipling, the man organising that. I think it's the 7th of August, if I remember rightly, from the dates that came out today. So Barry, the organiser of the XCM, lots of the off-road community riding on Zwift through the winter. Barry, a very fast man, and actually one of our regular riders on the Chaingang as well. It's good to see his already back on the gang and working well. So up over the top of the climb we go. The gang just coming through the front, leading over the top, and this is where it'll start to stretch out. So they need to back off on the front, push at the back. And this is where you'll start to see the gang going down. Good to see so many of our female riders here. So Fiona Marsh, Tiffany Fletcher, Laura Lawson, Tracy Seeley, Ruby Isaacs, Claire Richardson, Lindsay Clark. I think that is the other Fiona. We've got 2 F Marshals actually in the team, so we're going to try and catch up with both of those. I think that's Sarah Hyatt, if I remember rightly. I think we've got Sonia Ainsley, we've definitely got Annie Simpson, Ruth Taylor and Gail Phillips in with us as well. So the team absolutely rocketing the way down the course here. And you can see the splits just forming in this group as they make their way over the top. And this is quite simply caused by the pace of the gang going up over the top. And if we take a look down the course, you can see these riders fracturing. The gap is opening up, and behind the yellow beacon on his way down, heading down into the ditch. So definitely got Sonia Ainsley. The gang does have Jamie Brown back in here. Jamie Pearson in the squad. Now coming up to the Cistercian monastery on the left-hand side that will remain nameless. We are not going down the roads of which monastery it is ever again. It is now the monastery that shall remain nameless in the best that we can do in terms of Monty Python-esque. Now, Nick Craig jumping in. It looks like Nick managing to get onto the gang tonight. The legend of cyclocross, a man who raced twice at the weekend. Craigie on the pedals at 6.5 watts per kilo. He should be charging his way up in towards the group. If we take a little bit of a look here quickly, coming up the side of Steve Cannon and working his way up towards the bear. Remember, the aim of the game is to stay around that yellow beacon. At the moment, Nick Craig on his way up. Fortunately, Nick still hampered by having a basic bike and wheels. We're not going to add a penalty on in terms of making him stay there forever. So as Nick works his way up through the game, he'll be able to get more drops points. He'll be able to find himself riding a better bike, better kit, lighter, faster, more aero. All the usual things, and I'm sure he can't wait to be on a Scott. But Nick, of course, taking a clear win at the front of the race field in the Vet 50s, and then racing hard on the Sunday as well. So Nick using the gang. Good to see Mr. Mason in here. Gareth Mason, aka the Fat Cyclist, interestingly gone for a disc and aero front wheel. Something that gives big advantage on the faster sections, not so good on the climbs, but clearly playing to his strengths there. Ben Cokin in the gang, just tucked in there. Looks like certain Mr. Lavery making the gang as well. Good to have Phil on board as well. Let's dropping back to Mr. Stevens, and looks like Barrett of the Temby Aces just jumping in behind at the moment, just trying to push on to the back of that pack. So remember, we have 3 full laps to do. Stevens, our bus driver, Jason Stevens, doing the driving on the Zwift Tron bike on that concept one, the best bike to ride around the new Nyoko area. Looks like Chris Idale just sitting at the side of the road, probably just feeling his age, having to put on a bit of the old soothing balm. Maybe he's actually going to get a shave. I don't know. Well, we'll have to have a little bit of a look, but it looks like Chris just sitting at the side of the road, but he just dropped his phone. You never ever know. The advantage of not having a webcam on everybody, which personally I quite like the fact that we don't. So just going up with Andy Wild. Andy tucked onto the edge of the group here and riding strongly as well. Good to see Damien Clayton in the gang. Damien, of course, one of our real faster riders, riding for the Canyon DHB squad. Somebody who started off riding for the local squads, then putting a probably stand-up performance to go to the attention of everybody from the Andy Moore's team. Was up at the northeast, up on the cyclone races in the National Road Race that goes up the rails twice on a real ride into the finish. A really good ride by Damien that time, and that's really what brought him to people's attention. Now with Jim Flynn in the gang here, just sat tucked on to the side of the bunch here, and Jim knows the score, just sitting behind our yellow beacon. The aim here to get everybody together. Let's have a little bit of a look back. I know that Mr. Stevens has got bodies with him. Let's drop in with him. So at the moment it shows nobody between Kieran and Mr. Stevens. So Chris Idale just having to push back at pace. Mantis at the moment just being rolled off the back of the group. You can just see Stevens coming behind. Chris Idale though coming at speed. So just tucked in behind Chris, just moving his way in through the group here. Stevens quickly kicking up to speed to jump back in with him as well. Now these two riders coming back together. They've got to get back together in time to go on to the big bank of Pot Bank. A very, very nasty climb indeed. And you can just see the gap between the yellow beacon and the red at the moment of 14 seconds. It's a real tough day to actually be a beacon on this course. You saw that sawtooth profile from the riders on the way through. Let's just jump in with the gang here. And you can just see they're riding really, really quickly indeed. So dropping down in towards the gang. Just dropping in towards that climb. We're going to try and drop into one of our young riders on the way through here, and you can just see this is where it gets steep. We're now at 16% on this section, drops down to 15, and you can see the brakes have just got on. It is like somebody has thrown an anchor out of the back of the bikes. As you come up here, it's still holding at 15%. We're with you, Matt Gilmore now. Matt makes Tom Lindley look old on the way through. So great to see the gang coming through. Paul Mallon, you'll find yourself on a ban claiming these roads for Lancashire. Believe me, it's far too pretty. So the team coming up here. This descent, as the descent is absolutely lunacy down here. I've lost count number of times the gang going through there. John Garfort's got 2 anchors out. Moral of the story, don't have it on 100% ever. Never ever do it. Why would you do it? Why would you make life hard? Personally, I would be sitting at 10 to 25% depending on how much power we need to get in. You can just see the red beacon up to the back of the group. Now, if you're on the front, guys, and you're watching live, just please be aware as you go over the crest of this steep section of climb, what you're going to find is that the front will open out. We're still on 14% at the back of the group, but you can see where it goes over the crest here. It's not too far away from the tractor driver who sat watching us, just on the left-hand side of the course. Then, as we go over the crest, the gradient eases and the front is in danger of spreading out and leaving the riders behind. So you can just see that group at the moment still holding all together. You can see the tractor driver just to the side of the course there, just keeping a beady eye on everybody. Just watching the racing from over the wall. I've actually commentated where I've had a tractor driver. Thank you very much, sir. I'm sure the rider's working well. So you can see the team climbing up pot bank, and you can see how fast those gaps have opened out between the front and the back of the group. So guys, if you're on the front and you're watching live, make sure you ease off. Watch that blob turn into a string if we're not careful as we go through. Just going to try and jump back into the gang. So now this is where we've got to be really careful. We're just up on the front of the group here, and you can just see the gaps just starting to open up now. Mr. Mason saying he needs to change the difficulty on this course. It is the case very often. Watts for watts, you've got to generate the watts somehow. You can either do it really slowly at 2 revs per minute and have a 100% on, or you could just keep a good speed revving around. You know, we got gears for a reason. Use the turbo for adjustment for a reason, definitely. So Mr. Stevens just his way now. Chris James of Mapley just dropping off the back of the group, just passing on the message on the way through. Now let's take a little bit of a look. Stevens on his way up. Russ at the moment, I think, just having to do some gear changing on the kit, and remember, Russ, if he's on that Wahoo bike, which will tip him back, he's also got to make sure that he's got the right gear set up on there. If he's left the old one on for the flat, then he's going to be in trouble on the way out. That group now, one long line. You can just see if we zoom out, it is a long snake up to the top of the climb. It takes the left-hand turn, so the riders at the back now need to squeeze. Those on the front need to just ease as they make their way up over the top. Remember, we've 3 laps in total to do. So let's take a check on what's going to happen at the back here. So just seeing Hutt just having to do a little bit of squeezing here to get onto the back of the group. Jonathan Hutt at the moment is who we're watching. Just tucked in the pack. Let's see if we can get a quick look at Jonathan. Just making his way up here. Craig Genther just behind at the moment, actually, and Craig just pushing on here. So Craig on a disc and a deep wheel, and now into that kind of territory as we drop down here. Currently 126 beats per minute, 95 revs, 266. So the aim is to get that group together. You can just see Russ and the gang just squeezing back in. So this is where it's going to just start to pull back together again. So the gang at the back are working well together here. You can just see Jason Stevens just keeping a check on everybody. You've got Craig Genther just jumping onto the back of that group now. Let's see if they're going to get themselves up together. So Mr. Stevens doing a great job, making his way down the straight here. And I think that's going to be Taylor Leach just on the side, I think. Just going to do a double check which of our riders we're on. It is indeed Taylor, just keeping a check there, the London Dynamo rider. So you can just hear the speed going up and down. And don't believe all you read on your screens as well. Remember, of course, we have the power to go wander our way up and down the gang, which is what we do regularly on the behind the scenes to check the numbers. The numbers on the front of that group have been holding pretty steady to keep everybody together. Our red beacon, never having done this route, Jason, mate, you lucky man. That's all I'm going to say. It's pretty horrid in real life and in and on the computer. Although in real life, at least you have great scenery. You're not just looking at the walls of a pain cave on the way through. So that group just blobbing back together, and look at that. That's what you call a blob. All blob and sticky and all stuck nicely together. And that's what we want to see. None of these fractures, none of these breaking apart. Just have a little bit of a check. Russ nicely tucked in here as well. Just watching our riders make their way up here. We are going to get hold of Annie because we've now got Annie Simpson on the screens. Annie rolling along here, 75 revs per minute. Now, Annie, for those people who don't know Annie's credentials, Annie, great off-road rider, great on-road rider, a rider who's ridden professionally, who has taken wins in things like the Tour Series, as well as riding strongly on the road, a rider who we know is capable of a podium when she puts her mind to pretty much anywhere out of him. And somebody who has now been heading up OTE for since his inception really, and doing a great job of being the rider that we know is going to be able to look after people. Annie coming and doing a talk for members of the DCG gang, and of course looking after them as well. The handwritten notes from the team, they're a small team. I know there's about basically 6 riders, 6 people there, all of which are keen riders, sports people, and people like Gabby Shaw and the team, all busy boxing everything up. So it looks like Annie nicely tucked in here. Had the pleasure of riding with Annie in real life a couple of times, and definitely one of the really nice people involved in cycle sport and looking after our riders. A massive thank you to OTE and to Annie for looking after the members of the DCG gang. So the gang are holding together nicely. Just dropping the way down. We've got to say a massive thank you to all of the sponsors, to Halo, OTE, Velaskin, 1080, Velaviewer, the team behind Ben Jenkins and all the team behind the Grand Tour Coffee, and of course Gritty, who out supporting the sport. Remember that support the people who support your sport. If you buy some nameless, faceless internet giant, basically all you're going to do is fund some offshore Cayman Islands tax haven that pays zero back into the economy, that doesn't look after the racing, that doesn't keep the show on the road. However, if you support the gang, support people on the gang, then guess what? You're looking after real people, real businesses, people who actually come and ride. Neil and Caroline from Gritty both ride the Chain Gang. The man behind the Swanya, behind all of the Ineos Grenadiers. Ben Jenkins supporting us from the start. Ben and John and Anna from Velaview riding the Chain Gang. Ian Taylor, regular on the Chain Gang from 1080. Chris on the Chain Gang tonight from Velaskin. Annie on the Chain Gang again tonight from OTE. Josh Mayland, another of our regulars on the Chain Gang. Now, this pace just picking up a little bit here, and looks like the team is on its way. So Mr. Stevens on his way up. So the team looking good together, and just been doing a little bit of experimenting actually with Emma, our yellow beacon for the women's Chain Gang. And Emma's just been doing some experimenting with the super carbs from OTE, particularly on rides where you don't get a chance to take on board lots of fuel. So something like a team time trial, something like a cross race where you've got a really intensive hour-long effort, then that is where you really need to have the carbs coming in, the fuel coming in, and you want it really quite intensively. So doing a little bit of experiment on that. Super Carb's absolutely brilliant, particularly on longer rides where you've got a bottle of hydro tab, or you've got a bottle of fuel, or if you're doing a shorter ride and you just need to have something with you to get fuel on board quickly, and stomaching something like a gel or a solid bar isn't good. So OT absolutely critical. We always say make sure you do it in training. Don't ever take something new in terms of racing. Never a good move. As we see what I think is going to be our Gruppetto form in here. This could well be the bus. It's a very fast bus. It has to be said at the moment, but it's got a real good group here. I mean, to be honest, I'd rather stay in this group be on the front. You've got Jim Flynn in here, a wonderful Jim Flynn, one of our regular gang. And you've got Mark Tickill in here, one of the regulars on the Chain Gang. And we've got Andy Verrill in here, absolutely one of the soundest guys in terms of the gang as well. You've got Jonathan Hutt in the group. We've got Andy Hawes just in front. Horsey in danger of being swept up by this group here. Andy, of course, one of the nicest guys I've had the pleasure of working on out on events. And Andy, one of our regular riders, just making his way through. So, Mr. Stevens, Jason Stevens, finding out just how hard being Red Beacon is. It's the hardest workout in the world ever.com. There's no other word for it. It is really, really tough. Our yellow beacons tend to be able to ride at the pace of the group. There's a reason that we pick them. It's a reason that Russ does it so well, that Jimmy Allen does it so well, and that Emma does it so well. However, when you do the Red Beacon, you have to ride at the pace of others. You have to try and pull people back. You work with that group. It's one of the most rewarding but one of the hardest jobs to do. Amazing job being done by Jason. So just seeing Andy, we're going to drop him a definite thumbs up. Just seeing Marshall at the moment, just moving up through the groups. This is going to be Fiona Marshall. Now, I think we actually have two Fiona Marshalls on the ride, so we're going to jump onto this one. So this Fiona Marshall riding for the 3C try at the moment, just in front of Tim Leary. Tim, one of our winners on the Chain Gang and the DCG Gang. So Tim winning the indoor bundle and just jumping in with the gang, in with that gruppetto at the moment. So Jason started to shepherd these four riders along, and Tim Leary in there. So out onto our second group. Fiona Marshall's not going to be far off. They're kicking out 3 watts per kilo. Some going. We've got Andy Hawes. We've got Hyatt just in front here. So this is going to be Sarah Hyatt. So Sarah and Fiona have the potential to drop back. There's currently about 10 or 12 seconds up on that chasing group behind. That is the Red Beacon group. You just see the Beacon behind. Beacon, a great gang. Paul Malin now dropped. Stefano Borelli, and looks like Tiffany Fletcher as well. There's some really good riders being distanced quite early on in the ride here. Big Tez going down at the moment. Looks like Kieran Brown having to put in a big dig. He's got to come in at pace, I think, to try and take that sprint, working his way up. And this is the way to do it. Go off the back of the group and sprint your way up in towards the line. Let's see if Kieran can take this. He's currently on 102nd. He's likely to come flying out of this group just as he comes to the line, jams the brakes on. You can see all the watts per kilo come off and gets the green jersey, the 31.65. Kieran going from the back of the group to the front, and that is the way to do it. And you can just see Kieran already dropping off the pace, a man who knows how to ride the Chain Gang. And look at the number of PBs coming in here. It's absolutely raining down confetti on these riders as they've come through the line. We're just going to try and work our way back through the group. Working our way back down to us, big group here. So in with Mr. Stevens and the gang. Looks like Fiona Marshall joining in the gruppetto now going. If you are around, Jim, if you are one of our riders and you're watching live and you're in this group with Mr. Stevens, then key thing here, make sure you grab the group together. Make sure that you work as a group, because there are lots of sections on here where that group is going to have a big, big advantage. Just up in front, looks like Tiffany Fletcher. Could well be jumping into a group with Stefano Borelli. Stefano, of course, from Nonnas. And on OTE week this week on the Chain Gang, Nonnas putting prizes into the December prizes for the members of the DCG gang. Sarah Hyatt in here, Paul Malin here, Big Tez in here. So this could make a really handy group of riders just behind Malin, Hyatt, Borelli, Hawes and Fletcher. Could have a really nice group coming together. Tiff, get on the wheel of Andy. He's an absolute star rider. He's definitely worth getting hold of and jumping on the wheel of Andy. Andy's groups usually go at a good pace. Same as Sarah, if you just got that group with you, jump on them quick. They are really a cracking group. Anything that runs with Andy in it generally works really, really well. Now, just dropping up ahead, looks like Keith Richardson and Chris Iredale just off the gang a little bit. Looks like Russ just up on the front, just taking a little bit of a run up through the group. Good to have Andy Singleton back on. Andy, another of our regular riders from the word go. Andy, I'm not sure if I love this colour scheme or not, the jersey or not. It works well with that Tron bike, but save pink for your boxer shorts, mate. Not for the jersey on the outside. Definitely not. Not unless you wear your boxers on the outside. So Gail Phillips in here. Gail, our spreadsheet supremo, the rider who looks after the beacons for the DCG, for the Open DCG on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Emma, the yellow beacon, looking after our red and yellow beacons on the WOW DCG. Now super busy. And the riders who help us out, we also have massive thanks to Gail and all of our volunteers like Jason out on the gang. Got a real mix of riders doing the job, so looking forward to seeing what happens at the back. So Damien Clayton saying quite happy to drop off the back and bringing people back in. So Mr. Lavery, he's just ticking his way along at the side here. Phil Lavery just ticking his way through. Not going too quick, just not expending too much energy. Sitting round about Ross here, not being too mad. Rider who knows exactly how to play this. Look at Kieran Smith. Kieran in here as well. Just try and get a quick view. Another of our regular riders. He knows the score. He's sat in there. So Andy Hall's just organising a group behind this. So let's just drop towards the back of this group at the moment. We're going to try and work our way back through. We might have to go from the back to the front. So let's drop to Jason and the group here. So looks like Potter just coming in from OTEs. Late join and currently just making it in inside the numbers here at 15k. Needs to push on. He's got 25 seconds to make up to Flynn Stevens. This is our red beacon group. So this is the group that is our red beacon gruppetto. It's the red bus. This is the key point here where everybody works together. Now this group needs to work together. Tim Leary in here. It looks like we've got going through here. Fiona Marshall, Mark Tickhill, Tim Leary, Jason Stevens, Jason Flitty in here. Let's have a little bit of a look at the road. Then we've got this next group. So we've got Stefano in here. Stefano Borelli in the yellow, blue and black. Then it's going to be Stefano getting onto the back of Andy Hawes as well. Nicely done. Then it's Tiffany Fletcher just in front. Then big text in here. Sarah Hyatt. It's about 5 seconds up the road. And then Paul Malin. It looks like Jeff Sasel's not all that far in front. Neither is Steve on his way through here. So Clarion Steve just coming over the top. These are the riders realistically that are likely to see that Andy Hawes group. If we drop back to Sarah Hyatt, this is the group that is in between the red and the yellow beacon. Nice group of riders there. Behind then Jason Stevens just holding this gang all together. Just seeing I think Ollie Sawyer, another of our late joiners. Don't be distracted by him coming through because they will do damage to the group. This is where Jason has to keep everybody together. Stefano Borelli on the gang, and these four quickly back together again. They know they'll soon start hoovering people up on the climb. We're going to work our way right the way up towards the very front of the group. Looks like Damien Clayton just whizzing his way down here. So Damien just having to make some ground up as we come past the Abbey. She'll never be named. Making our way up onto the climb once again. I just see this group is well and truly dot to dot now as the pace starts to pick up. Remember, this is the second time up this climb. Good to see Chris Ball up here, one of our winners on the Scott Week, where Scott Sports taking four of our riders in the end who went down to go take a look at the Ruler show. So Russ on his way up the climb. Heart rate's over 100, but not too mad at the moment. And looks like he's going well at the moment on his way up here. So the gang working well together. The team on the climb up towards the corner at the Army Apprentices College. That is the next point where we're going to be up to. That's going to be up at the top of the hill. Let's see if we can get hold of the one and only Russ Downing. How's the bear doing?
Good, mate. Good.
It's really interesting, this course, isn't it? Because we get early fractures and we tend to lose our red beacon quite early. But we've got some really good groups. We've got Andy Hawes' group sandwiched in between, with Tiff Fletcher, Stefano Borelli in there. We've got Jason Stephen doing an amazing job on red, and it's a hard day to be red.
Yeah, I think honestly, it's like real life. You know, you get distance on something like this, and then you probably just ride the same pace out the back, you know. So there's no point in trying to batter yourself and get back, because you won't make it and you'll blow. So, you know, find the group and then make it to the finish. But pretty controlled here, you know. Our first lap, you know, I think everyone's just in Damien Clayton's OTE box on the start, because they're all just like going for it, and then we all settle down. As the just doing a big jump on us.
Yeah, it's just holding back together again and coming back together as we go around that corner. That was always where you do the left-hand turn onto Penny Pot Lane as you come around on the circuit. Fortunately, we can miss that out basically, because that was always a hard road when you were racing it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's always pretty tricky around there. You know, some years since I've raced around here, but you know, it's all good fun.
Indeed, and at the moment, just dropping down to the descent, and then we've got Pop Bank again, and that 16% section is just killer, isn't it? If your turbo's got itself cranked right up, you need a properly low gear or the turbo turned down.
Yeah, I'd rather ride it on a turbo than on a Brompton. When I did it with Matt Stevens for the Sigma YouTube, that was such a laugh, you know. First time on a Brompton, going down a hill, and he flicked me, he gave me the wobbly bar one, you know. It's like, yeah, thanks for that.
That was not what you needed at the time, but we're working, the group working well together. I'm going to let you get back to it, because it's looking pretty frisky down there. I think you may well need to be keeping a firm eye on this little lot at the moment. You know, people like Kieran Brown just started to be detached here in Beefy and Woodall, and they're quite quick riders. They're 9 seconds down on that group. It looks like it's just doing a little bit of splitting on this descent.
Yeah, I'm glad I've got one of them feather things. I might have to use it early, so yeah, probably about now.
That might be, yeah. So not, yeah, any second, yeah, pretty much now. All right, mate. Good luck.
Cheers, mate.
Well, we're going to drop away from Russ as we go up onto this climb. I said definitely don't want to be watching Russ's heart rate as we come up onto here. You can just see this group working the way round. They're on that 16% section coming round. So we're just with Kieran Brown making his way up into the back of that big group. Just quickly kicks up Kieran, absolute class rider. We know he's got the speed and the pace to get up onto the front of the group here. So let's take a little bit of a run back. Keith Richardson, looks like Chris Iredale in there. Jeff Saysel just about holding Beefy from Cycleways. You just see the gaps just opening up here. Just drop back to Mr. Stevens, and you can see that the team here still on that climb. They're just making the way up to the top of the climb as they keep pushing here. So Jim Flynn, Mark Tickle, Jason Stevens, looks like Marshall Leary and have gone up the road slightly, got a couple of seconds on the way up, but Stevens doing an amazing job here, keeping those messages going, which is what you need when you're having a bad time. Then it's going to be Tim Leary. Tucked in behind Leary is Marshall. Borelli and Fletcher got the Andy Hawes gang together here, so the team together, and Borelli just rolling around here. You can just see that yellow beacon up onto the climb. It's great to see these riders already working well together. got the gang up onto the bank here. Topley, Sawyer, Taylor, McDermott, Beefy from Cycleway Zone, Davis, Chris Cannon, Jeff Saysel, Steve Cannons, going to be Anthony Spencer. Spencer doing a great job. He's not been on the gang all that long. Already looking well at home, tucked in here. And look at this, climbing onto the back of the group as we come up past the farmer on the left-hand side of the course very shortly. You could just see that corner coming up on the long view. And these riders pushing in. Paul Coleman tucked into this group. Dowd Leash is in here. Looks like Keith Richardson in. Bowles is in this group. Andy Wild in here. Bobby Mason doing a great job. Do you know what? Bobby has really, really come on. Bobby has improved week on week on week. Really impressed with Bobby's riding. Really has improved time and time again. And clearly these hills suiting Bobby as he continues to push on. Sonia Inslee in this group. Sonia, of course, regular TT rider, hill climb rider, all-round lunatic, and absolutely fast as. And again, quick sprint, and another rider who really is improving, just going alongside. I think it's just Sander Grove just on the opposite side now of the road there. Just riding in with Steve Hilbert on the way in towards that corner. We're just going to work our way up through past Llewellyn, past Henry Flood, past John Gale, going through past the other Fiona Marshall. 2 Fiona Marshalls in this gang. So we're going to drop in. So this is our second Marshall. So this is the second of our Marshalls in the gang. Just double check it is Fiona. We've got 2, but we have got 2 Fiona Marshalls in the gang. Quite impressive that we got 2 simultaneously. Now, just going to take a little bit of a run up the road. Kieran Smith tucked in here. Kieran, of course, one of the real fast men of the chain gang. Rob Wimble in here as well. Phil Leverett, all of a sudden now starting to get back into gear and just nicely tucked into this group. Ross tucked in here. Looks like Martin Conley's in this gang. Tristan from, I get Tristan Emptage in here as well. Neil from the Crosscast tucked into the group, not going anywhere in a hurry, just making sure he's nicely in this group once again. Laura Lawson in here from the Aeonian squad in the gang. Looks like Claire Richardson in here. Jimmy Allen, the Wolf, just waiting and waiting. A man who we know can run this gang all the way through. Just watching this group just rolling. You see everybody's up on the front. Nobody wants to do too much work. Look who's right in this gang. Annie Simpson is doing an amazing job here. Annie doesn't ride the chain gang every week, but you know what? When she comes on, she just makes it just her own. It's really impressive to be able to come back in and to just jump back into the group like she does. I have to say, very, very impressive stuff. So Eakin's in here, just nicely working around. So just taking a little bit of a check as they come up through. So the team are riding well here. We'll drop the game sounds back in again. Dangerous at the moment, given the new game sounds. I saw some of the comments on the way through. So Nick Craig in and riding well with the gang. I don't know how long it'll be before Nick takes a victory at this. Nick definitely one of the real fast riders of the sport. Really a ambassador. Don't forget, of course, make sure you go to the Ride for Charlie websites and. Definitely good to see Nick in action at the weekend. And Craigie, it can't be all that long before this man suddenly starts to go and take everybody on. He's clearly just seen himself on telly because he's suddenly gone, "Hi, Mum. Hi, Sarah. I'm giving it some big beans here. Oh, no, I better get off the front quick before Matt takes the mickey." Yeah, definitely, mate. I would. It's always a good move. Otherwise, I'll deal on the next intro when we go on when we're on the mic. So Nick jumping back in, clearly saw the front, got a little bit of a nosebleed getting out the front of the group. In with one of the most improved riders in the chain gang, a woman who got 2 new FTP on the way through the week. Last week, rode 3 chain gangs in a row. Tracy Seeley, absolute animal. Super, super quick, super, super fast. And do you know what? Very, very impressive improvement to get 2 new FTPs. They weren't just by 1 watt either. They're about 10 or 12 at a time. That's seriously impressive riding. So Tracy on her way down, sitting in with this leading group. These riders are doing some good stuff here today. You just see as they make their way down this descent, just starting to come in back into town. It's looking well at the moment, and this group together, so very impressed as they drop in. So Mr. Mason clearly on his way up to Yorkshire as run out of steam, so let's see where he's going to end up. Good to see Laura Lawson making this very confident. Good to see come on to boot James off every time. James and Laura taking it in turns to get on the chain gang, and tonight Laura doing better than James usually, just to be fair. So nicely in here, and you can just see the pace here, 62 kph as they come sprinting down this roadway, and you can see this big descent down into town. It's very quick, and this is where the group regularly comes back together again. On the way in, it's where the chase will be on as we come in next time round. As we come down here, can't imagine we're going to see everybody today. Neil Tukey in here. Still got Fiona Marshall tucked into this group, working well on this run here. Bowles in here, Wimble's in here, Adams in here, Craneway in here. Ted's done his time, coming up to 51 minutes. Mark Chamberlain back in here. Ian Bale still in this group. It's a huge group coming down this straight. And this is what you want to see as they come in and down. If we drop over the top, you can just watch the churn in this group as the riders come up to the front, then come back off again. You can just see everybody as we come through that gantry working well. Neil, no you didn't, mate. This is just the ride, mate. We've got the message board rolling in about 6 different places, and if you missed it, I missed it because it's not showing on here. So it looks like the pace just steadily picking up. So Neil getting some stick off off the gang. Where is he anyway? What's happened to Crosscast Neil? If he's having a hard time, I want to be able to give him some stick when we go on to the... he has lost the wheel. Look at this. He has lost the wheel. He's 30 seconds back. This is not like Neil at all. Must have been daydreaming. So just working our way back up. Damien Clayton still sat in this bunch. Taylor Leach in this group as well. It is kind of busy in there at the minute. Well, I'm sure I just saw Annie Simpson with that yellow, with the orange jersey of the fastest lap on here, on the way through. Always tricky. Looks like Adams has done the same for the men. But this group churning around, it's absolutely flying along at the moment. This is not slow by any stretch of the imagination around here. So Annie indeed has that jersey. We'll get there. We're going to get there. It's moving faster tonight once you click the screen, and that shows you just how many riders are in this. There we go. Annie tucked in here, working well. Fastest lap from Annie here in Yorkshire on that UCI lap reverse. So Annie, fastest time in that group as they've come through the OTE week here on the Donny Chaingang. The riders now up on to the climb. Dave Micklethwaite moving up from the 3RT team. Everybody just wants to sit on or near the front. Nobody wants to get caught out on the way through. Tom Elliott in here, Kieran Smith, Micklethwaite moving up. Booth is in here as well. And once, of course, Russ presses the trigger, and once we see that gap starting to open, I can't imagine it's going to be all that long, to be honest, but even I don't know when it's going to go. And I'm in constant communication. It's one thing you never blinking tells me, I tell you. Oh, so we're just going to jump back through to the front of the group. A little bit of a drop out there, hoping that we haven't lost the group too far at the moment. We're going to run our way up. Looks like Nick Craig just being distance from the group. Well, looks like a number of people are not going to make it back. Just taking a look, Keith Hayward isn't going to make it. Neil from the Crosscast isn't going to make it. Chris Iredale has been flying along. He ain't going to make it. That's game over. That is for sure. They're not going to get that gap back. The back of this group are together just about. This is absolutely mad. Got to really, really push. Kipling goes. Adams right up here. West is on here. Dubash is in here. Raccoon is in here. We're just coming through that sprint line at the moment. And the go has gone. As we go through the sprint line, the go has gone. This is where things get very interesting indeed, because the group now has just gone through that sprint line. They know that if they're not on the front as they come up onto the big climb, they're going to be in trouble as the speed picks up in that group. We're just going to jump in with Russ at the moment as they come round this corner, hoping that Russ can stay with the lead as they come down. He should do on this descent. The question is, what happens as he goes up onto the climb? You can just see those gaps starting to open up in the group behind, and this is where the back will be chasing like mad. See, Thomas Crapper's made this group. Potts is in here, Warren Lavery, Elliott in the group, Kieran Smith, Laura Lawson in here, Laura doing a great job for the AAO squad. You can see why it's so strong. Martin Conley in this group as well. See him in here. Looks like Tom in here, young Tom Lilly, I think, just tucked in it. Annie Simpson, she's not messing about tonight. Come on, Annie. In fact, I think Little Simo is going to be up onto the front as she moves her way up towards the front of that group, but quickly kicking the way up onto the climb. Now, this is where we're going to see this time come apart, I think. The QOM reverse, 3:06 for Hyatt, a 3:03 for Taylor last time around. Clayton now starting to wind it up near the front. He's got Gilmore on his wheel. Now, are these two going to try and rip this group apart very early on? Remember, we have 3 full laps of the circuit. The time to beat, well, Clayton's time last time he was 98th up here. He's going to be 98th up here this time. That is for sure, because you can just see the 3:03 and the 3:06 are going to be in big danger as they come up. We actually see the riders in front. They are 1 lap down, about 16 minutes up the road. Still quite close to the back of the pack now. Jimmy Allen starts to push his way across this group, trying to make his way into the group here. You can just see Clayton, though, starting to feel the pressure potentially as Kieran Smith has gone over the top of him. So Smith saw the danger with Clayton going, so he's gone up onto him. Gilmore's in there. Jimmy Allen now in the 3rd wheel. Clayton, the pro, in 4th wheel. Looks like the Bear himself currently sitting in about 8th position. Neil Birmingham right in that group. Another man who's really made himself well and truly at home here. So, leading riders, Kieran Smith in the black, Matt Gilmore in the yellow, Jimmy Allen in the Mondrian in that La Vie Claire copy. Then you've got Clayton coming up in to join them here. So Clayton looking to take away that KM time. Remember, it's a 3:03. It was the time to beat. 3:06 in the women's. I think that is going to get smashed to oblivion here. It's going to be into a different galaxy as they come through here. 1:48.8. 1:48.8. What a time up there. That is a phenomenal time through. We're just looking to see who's going to take the women. So 1:48.8. In fact, look at those riders. You've got to be inside 2 minutes to get anywhere near the top, but inside the top 10. That is phenomenal. It's Annie Simpson's time. 3:06 down to 2:10. Simo putting in a 2:10 up there. Now our riders are smashed all over the road here, and this is where things get really, really difficult indeed. You can just see these PBs going in. Annie from OTE, no doubt fueled up by some secrets, hopefully all the way through. I want whatever she's riding. She's got an indoor pack on the go, clearly pre-fueling. then riding smoothly in there. And Simo goes through after taking that QOM time, and that is a 2:10.0. Richardson, who is right with her, a 2:10.2. These two riders are going to be very, very close all the way into the finish, because they are going to be fighting for the lap finish. Richardson is who we're riding with at the moment. Simo has got them right with her. So in the blue in that Rafa top, just making her way up. Then Richardson in the black, another outrageous. Richardson puts in a little bit of a dig here just to stay in with this group as they come down in and over the bridge here. You can see they're absolutely flying on the way down here. The Yellow Beacon group coming back together again up in front, I think. We're just going to take a run back up to our Yellow Beacon. Going to take a little bit of doing as we're just going to come in. Gilmore is the rider on the push now, chasing after Clayton. Kieran Smith in here. Is that Kieran Brown? It's got to be Kieran Brown for Sure Pines. None of the other Pines riders at the moment have that kind of pace that George Cooper was actually on earlier today. George would be a rider who could challenge as they come up this climb. You can just see it's Clayton setting the pace at the moment. A 1:48 from him up that KOM. So the riders working well on the way up here. Brown riding strong, Gilmore riding strong, Clayton riding strong, and Smith riding strong. So the two Kierans up there. Now Kieran Smith, Kieran Brown, Damien Clayton will have all ridden together on the Andy Moore's Chaingang on the Staveley bypass, bashing the three riders, I'm sure, will be used to riding with each other, just not necessarily on Zwift. Now, in with them is Matt Gilmore, the youngster, nicely tucked into this group. So, four riders together, working well. And that looks to me like Kieran just having a little bit of a revs issue on his way through there. Hopefully he's not getting a drop out behind. The chase is being led by Russ. So Russ Downing currently in what is 5th place. 6th place is Jimmy Allen. 7th is going to be Tom Elliott. Phil Oliver in 8. Rob Farty in 9. Birmingham in 10. Booth in 11. Tom Lindley in 12. Conley and Warren in 13th and 14th places. Adams in 15. Isaac Oliver, another of our youngsters, in 16. Bowles in 17. Eakins in 18. Till 19. Tristan 20th. Potts 21. Dench 22. Cottrell 23. Richardson and Simpson glued together here in 24th and 25th positions, and those riders, and Annie needs to not let that gap go here, because Richardson could be taking her out here in terms of going into that finish. The top 30 will take you round about Herring and Emsley marker. Craigie currently sitting about 33rd. These riders doing an absolute flyer up on the front. We're going to try and run our way back up to the leaders. Get in with Mr. Clayton, who is well on the way down this descent. They're absolutely flying. You can see the gap they've got on the Yellow Beacon at the moment. So the group are riding well. We're in with them at the moment. And you can just see Clayton, Brown, Smith and Gilmore, the four riders with a 26-second lead on Russ. Russ at the moment, but Billy Dowlakes. The pair at the moment just riding clear of Birmingham Booth. Looks like Jimmy Allen, Tom Lindley in here. Looks like this group holding just about from Warren, who's going to make his way on here. I think Conley likely to get attached. Isaac Oliver and Bowles and Adams could get back onto that group. They're not all that far in front, all chasing Russ. Meanwhile, onto the climb we go. Now Clayton starts to open up the throttle, starting to open up the gap. He's got 10 watts per kilo. It's a long, long way to go behind. You can just see all these riders working hard here. We're in with Gilmore, Kieran Smith just behind. Kieran Smith, a medalist at the National Hill Climbs at the moment, just being distance series, just dropped right off the pace at 2.5 watts per kilo. I think the elastic has snapped there, and that is going to leave Gilmore. If we take a look back, you can just see Smith being distance. Take a look up in front. Gilmore quickly coming up onto the wheels of Kieran Brown and Damien Clayton. So Kieran Smith, who took the wins last week, not going to be doing that here today. Maybe Thursday's course will suit him. A brand new course for the Donny Chaingang on OTE week next week. It is a real interesting ride. It's the first time we've used it. It is not the full course, it's a chopped down version, which is going to give us a really interesting profile and should promote some really aggressive breakaway riding as we go into the finish, after hopefully holding the gang together on the way in. And OTE a week, well, when better to get that rolling. Now, Kieran Smith very quickly being caught by this big group behind. The question is, can they pull back? 29 seconds on Gilmore. Clayton has gone clear up on the front over the top. He's got the gap on Gilmore and on Brown. Now the two riders will need to work together to stay clear. They're about 30 seconds clear of the Kieran Smith Downing Elliott group, who are going to swallow up Kieran Smith, I suspect. And that is going to leave the pressure on to close these riders down. Still a long way to go into the finish. Clayton clear at the front, Gilmore in second. Remember, Damien Clayton fueled by OTE, the whole of the team fueled by OTE, keeping them hydrated, keeping them refueled. These are our two chasers. They've 20 seconds to make on Clayton. They've got 54 seconds on Elliott. And Elliott, Booth, Lindley and co. This group, we can't even get them just fractured a little bit. Lindley, Downing, Burnham, Allen, Smith and co. all in here, with Elliott leading them out at the moment. This is brutal stuff. They are 1 minute down now on these two riders. They have to work together. If this lot just faff about and look at each other, if they don't take the bit between the teeth and start putting the effort in, they are going to be the first non-podium riders. They're going to be fourth downwards. They're going to quite literally be also ridden. They're not going to be up in that top three. The top three at the moment, well, it is Damien Clayton with the gap, the pro, starting to ride clear. He's opened the gap on everybody else. 27 seconds. He's just keeping that pace high. Gilmore and Brown don't look to be working together too well here. Now Elliott and co at 51 seconds. That gap is behind. You can just see that yellow beacon just up behind our riders as they come down this straight. And the question is, are they going to be fighting for second and third place, or are we going to see this chasing group pull them back? At the moment, the differential is not big enough. Elliott, Birmingham, Allen, Booth, Smith, Lindley in there. Varty, Isaac Oliver and co. Should be taking heart from this, because that yellow beacon is not working well together. Here comes the next group coming in. This is going to be a big pack now coming together. So these groups start to reform. You can see it is dot to dot up on that climb. Our race ride leaders up at the front. It is Clayton who's got the gap here. He's on this last kicker of a rise up to the top. And at the moment, Damien Clayton running for the Sunweb DHB Canyon squad. The Bloor Holmes rider pushing really strongly at the moment as he comes up here, and looks like he's going to take some stopping now. He's currently just now holding them at bay. That gap is yo-yoing, but he's secure, I think, up at the front. The riders behind are coming, but they're not coming quick enough. Can't even see them. They're between the yellow beacon and Clayton. This is Gilmore at the moment. Behind him is Brown. So at the moment, Kieran Brown just being distanced a little bit by Gilmore. 17 seconds the gap. Is he going to be able to see our leaders go up over the top? 32 seconds behind comes the chasing group. Big pack behind them at 50 seconds. They could pull them back here. Clayton has gone clear though, and Clayton, I think, has got the gap by big enough here to stay clear. It is going to be really, really tight. As they've gone over the top of that climb, he starts to accelerate up. Now Gilmore and Brown, if they work together, could get him back, but I don't think Kieran Brown's got the legs today. Kieran suffering today, even though he's got those lightweight wheels on. He's got a decent frame on that bike. He is in trouble here. Gilmore has gone clear on the Tron bike, now starts to put in the aero power up to try and close that gap down. Clayton, though, continuing to ride smoothly here. 91 revs per minute, 176 beats per minute, 344 watts. Looking very, very good indeed. And you can see this pro rider is making ground as he comes down. He's now at 36 seconds over this man. That is Gilmore coming through. Then it is going to be our Sure Pines rider, Kieran Brown, on his way down the straight behind the group led by Elliott. This is a group of 6 riders. They're fighting for 4th, right the way through to 10th place. Then it is going to be Neil Birmingham. Birmingham not quite in with this group. And then it's going to be Oliver Bols and Co behind our race leader, though it is Clayton coming up in towards that left turn, the final corner. As he makes his way down this straight, it is going to be Damien Clayton. Good to have the pros back out and playing. Oh my goodness, you see just how good they are as they come down this straight. It is Clayton riding super smoothly here, 90 revs per minute, 174 beats per minute, sitting over 400 watts as he comes around that left-hand turn past the traction engine. And he is going to go underneath the gantry in first place. It is going to be Clayton who comes through. Damien Clayton takes this, a man who grew up riding chain gangs, riding the bypass, bashing around Staveley, takes the win here today. And look at that, an 18.52 around that circuit as well. Next up, it's going to be a second place here for Matt Gilmore. Not quite able to match that pace of Clayton coming down the straight. So Clayton's time at 18.52. Gilmore comes in and through the line, absolutely hammers through at 19.16. Then it is going to be Kieran Brown of the Sherwood Pines team in third place. So Clayton in 1, Gilmore in 2. Brown comes through to take third place behind. It is opening up with Booth, starting to really wind this up now. And Lindley's trying to respond to this. Booth has gone clear. But Lindley's coming. Lindley's going to try and roll him on the way through here. Lindley's right alongside him, and Lindley's gone over the top. Has Booth got anything left? Has he gone pop at the wrong time? He has gone pop at the wrong time, because it is going to be Lindley and Booth. Kieran Smith goes through. Then Downing, Jimmy Allen and Elliott through, with Birmingham just coming in behind them. So Booth for in 5th, Lindley in 4th place. The rest of them fighting out to 10th. Next big sprint here, Isaac Oliver in the blue. He's going to get rolled though. He gets rolled there, and the man who rolls him is Craig Bowles going through. Great ride by Bowles. Then Oliver, then Phil Oliver, Adams, Tristan Adey and Rob go through. Simon Warren is going to be our next rider up towards the line. This is going to take some do. He's got to stay clear. They're coming quick behind, but I think Simon Warren's got this. He has. Warren stays clear of Potts. Potts is going to be our next rider to the line. He's got the gap behind, and in he goes. So Potts goes through. Then it's going to be Eakins, followed by Conley. Conley just leading out this sprint. Has he got enough power to hold Till off here? Conley's going, Cottrell's coming. Cottrell comes round the side here. Cottrell's going to get this. Cottrell is absolutely annihilating it. So Cottrell goes, then Conley, then it's going to be Till. Now it's going to be Claire Richardson coming in. Claire, what a rider this woman is. Oh my goodness, absolutely phenomenal ride by Claire Richardson here. She is going to muller the women's time here. It is going to disappear off our screens. We're soon going to be able to get back and take a check as Leach, Herring and West go through. Simon Runnett. Emsley goes through, and Morn on his way in. So let's have a little look. 21.08 by Claire Richardson. Absolutely nailing this. So Morn is on the front. Pearson can't take him. Then it's Mantis. Iredale goes through. Annie Simpson comes through. A massive thank you to Annie and all of the OTE team, fueling us, keeping us hydrated, keeping us refreshed on the way through. That was super, super quick. Annie, amazing ride again. I don't know how Annie manages to pull it out. Not running all that really is absolutely monstrous times through there. As these riders go in now. Next of our riders going into the line is going to be this little group in here. It's going to be Chris Ball's gone through in front. Who's going to take the sprint here? They're all starting to wind it up. We've got Tracy Seeley and Laura Lawson coming. Lawson's going over the top of Seeley here. Because Seeley got anything left? Lawson is going to take this out for the AEO team. The AEO team take that group from Rob Wibble of the Dragon Scheme. Then Crosscast Neil, Tracy Seeley comes through, and Chris Gale. Absolutely motoring now. Is it going to be Tom Crapper who's going to take this? Thomas, a rider who's racing at the weekend. It's a Welsh race out here. As we see Jeff Saysell just rolling Crapper. Then Henry Fuller goes through. Keith Richardson, Thompson, Dr. D. Going through Barry Kipling, then Sudbury going through. Next up will be Dalgleish. Good ride by Dalgleish. Again comes through. He's just ahead of Donahoe. Donahoe is going to come in just in front of Gibbons and Greenway. So it's going to be Greenway and Gibbons. Then Woodall, the next rider onto that straight. Absolutely flying chain gang tonight. We will drop across to Russ when we get a gap long enough to actually get 2 words in between. As in comes Mr. Woodall, putting a big kick into the finish. Good to see the effort still coming in from these riders as they make their way in towards the line. So Woodall goes through. Then it's going to be a Wild coming in. So Wild goes through, being chased to the line by Gale. Then it's going to be one of our winners from tonight's OTE draw, John Garfoot of the Donny Chaingang, the Royal Marine Cycling Association rider, comes up underneath the gantry just ahead of Evans. And then it's going to be Sir Rodney, followed by Dave Micklethwaite, who's got Fiona Marshall on the wheels at the moment. Fiona needs to hold on to Dave's wheel here. If she can hold him, she could roll him on the line. She's got to put the kick in now, though, to go past Micklethwaite's wide. So the old wily fox there knows exactly how to ride it. He goes through. Then it's going to be Fiona Marshall coming through behind. Singleton's putting the kick in here. It's going to be Singleton who's going to get it. Is it? No, it's Craig Genther who gets it. My apologies, Craig. So Craig Genther getting that from Andy Singleton. Bobby Mason, another great ride by Bobby, and Kooslugs as well. Laura, hold it in, go. Never mind all this wanting to be sick. And the aim is to make you work hard. Phil Lavery on his way in over the line, being chased by Steve Hilbert. So Steve continues to push for the Sherwood Pies team. Good ride by Steve again. And in front, I think this is going to be Ruth Taylor, the next of our riders coming in towards the line. So it looks like Ruth, and then we've got a real quick rush of riders with Paul Coleman, Carl Briggs, Llewellyn, Langmead, Hayward, and Cannons. Taylor again pushing hard for the line. Another regular on the chain gang as they make their way in towards line. Claire Richards 21:08.4, phenomenally fast time around this circuit, and you can just see just how that fractured those multiple climbs to the sawtooth profile here in Harrogate, really taking their toll on the riders as Ruth lines herself up for the gantry here. Ruth goes in underneath the line there. Good ride by Ruth. Taylor's come through the finish there. Paul Coleman is going to be the next of our riders. He's got about 6 seconds back to Briggs at the moment. So big kick here from Paul as he pushes in towards the line. So Paul with the gap on Carl Briggs. It's going to be Paul who comes through the line next. A good ride by him. Briggs coming in behind. So Carl Briggs comes in to the line. He's got the gap on Llewellyn. So it's going to be Briggs who's going to push in. A little bit of a kick over the line from Briggs. Then it's going to be Llewellyn and Langmead now. I won't put it past Langmead to sprint for this. He knows the score. He knows exactly where he's going to be going for. Has he got anything left in the legs? Has Richard Langmead got it? Or is Llewellyn going to strip this out? Llewellyn's just lifting that pace as they come into the line here. And Llewellyn is going to take this from Langmead as they come in underneath the line. Then it's going to be Keith Hayward. Keith coming through on that Trombite. Good ride by Keith just ahead of Steve Cannons. Then it should be Sonia Inslee, lone rider Paul Malin. There's going to be Taylor, Beefy and Canham. So Hayward on his way to the line. Good ride by Hayward. Just behind him is Cannon. Cannon coming through. And this is going to be a good ride again. Another great ride. We've seen performance after performance today. So Steve Cannon coming in and through the line. Behind is Paul Malin. Malin on his way into the line. We're going to try and also simultaneously try and get hold of the one and only Bear as these riders start to come in This is going to be a bit of a group here because you've got Sonia Inslee, Taylor coming in a little bit back, but Sonia Inslee, Lone Rider and Malin. I mean, we all know that Sonia Inslee has got a sprint on her, so is Paul Malin, and so is Lone Rider. This is going to be interesting as Russ joins us. Russ, you've joined us just in time, mate, because we've got Sonia Inslee, Paul Malin and Lone Rider coming into the finish. I think it is going to be Malin who's going to take the first spot across. He's putting 6 watts per kilo, but behind, I think the sprint is on, and I think Sonia's going to roll Paul Malin on the way into the line. It is indeed Sonia who takes that, and with Paul Malin coming in as well. Great riding by those two. Lone Rider right on the heels, and Taylor behind. Only 7 seconds. Beefy Colin on his way through, a man who you bumped into, then Chris Cadham, and then it's going to be Sean Ferris. So Chris Cadham through the line. Sean on his a little way out here. Russ, how are your legs doing?
Good, mate. Yeah, I went that hard. I actually pulled my heart rate monitor off my arm, so that was nice. But yeah.
Oh, good skills.
That was a great gang. You know, we played it well. Really, first lap pretty tight. Second lap was very tight, and then, you know, a few people lost the wheel. You know, it was hotting up, but not crazy speeds, and then we went for it. And you know, Damo, the OTE king, just fueled up and rode away, didn't
He
he?
did. I remember watching him riding up in the northeast, and mentioned it on commentary earlier. The ride he put in that really sort of brought him to people's attention on the way up, as we see Sean Ferrin, another of our DCG gang riders, going in and across line. Sean coming in and round. Good ride, Sean. Damo's ride was at the northeast up at the Beaumont Trophy. And he was there, I'm sure it was the Nationals year actually, and he came through and he was in that chasing group and he put in a heck of a ride. But he's grown up riding chain gangs, doing the Staveley bypass bashing with a certain Kieran Brown, a certain Kieran Smith, who were all in that mix tonight. And it shows, doesn't it? You don't lose it once you've done it for real.
No, you know, he's originally Barnsley way, and then he moved down south and he was ripping the gangs up around Richmond Park and that, and then he came back up north, and he came on the Saturday chain gang. He was we called him either the Raffer boy or the Milk Tray man. When he first came up, he was all dressed in black, and everyone's like, "Who's this?" And he was going strong. So you know, we knew from the early doors that he had some power, and he's had a great couple of seasons. Just missed out on the Zwift Academy last year, so gutted with that. But then he's had a solid season with Canyon, so you know, we'll see what he does next year. But yeah, he definitely gave us played us some power down there after the finish line.
He did. He really went hard there. Just watching Owen Davies come through, another of our regulars on the gang, and Anthony Spencer. Spencer doing really well because he's relatively new to the gang, relatively new to Zwift, as you can tell by the bike, and doing a good job of bringing it home, and all the way through from Damo right the way to our Red Beacon. We're seeing some fantastic rides here on what is a really, really tough course.
Yeah, I think it's a tough course, but like I say, I think it definitely works for the gang. You know, you saw there was groups like splitting and then coming back and forming, and it's just a lot better. You know, the short, steep ones are great for putting the punch down, but then you have to really squeeze on. You know, I found myself in no man's land for about 5 minutes. I was like in fourth or fifth on the road, and I still had like 8 seconds back, and I'm like, oh, what do I do here?
Yeah, Billy. We noticed that Billy No Mates moment, and as you came over the top, the leading three just distanced you, but the group behind it, it's like, do I try and push? And the temptation must be just to keep pushing, but you are burning energy pretty much for nothing, aren't you? Because you're not going to stay away at that kind of distance and on this course.
No, and I got caught at a really bad spot. I got caught in the bottom of the dip, and they shot past me, but I saw them coming and just squeezed on, but it hurt to get back on the back of the bunch, and then we had a good group to the finish.
Well, we're just watching Andy Hawes just winding it up. Andy's wanting to take this, but what he doesn't realise, he's got Fletcher on his wheel, just watching him go through there. Fletcher just taking that from Andy Hawes. That was a great little sprint, 9 watts per kilo. Tiff Fletcher, actually a regular rider on the cross, now a BC coach, knows how to walk the walk as well as talk the talk. a regular on the Chaingang Tiff, and got Sarah Hyatt back with us as well, which is great to see. Stefano was in that group as well for a long while, and good to see Stefano starting to get quicker and quicker again after that week in Italy.
Yeah, that week in Italy, and then getting dragged into actually finishing La Rem, wasn't it? It was going to climb off after an hour and a half, and then he managed to get dragged into it. And it took him 2 hours, but he loved it. We caught up with him a couple of nights later in Nonnas, and he was like, "I was going to get off," but so that's what the gang's about. It's about encouraging everyone to do the distances. I don't know if I'm climbing off now, I might roll up to an hour and a half. So we'll see.
We'll
see
soon
my meatballs are ready.
Well, yeah, it's really good to watch because the guy's got a little bit of time here. Andy Hall's just put it in great riding, Tiff, because Tiff rolled him in the sprint there, and Sarah just behind, just rolling onto them. It's just good to see the chat with people behind, and we've got Tim Leary here, one of our winners on the OTE. So Tim's going to be getting those prizes. A massive well done to all of our winners on the Chaingang who have got themselves a prize from OTE today. Remember, 5 riders drawn today, with Tim Leary the first out. Tim is on your screens at the moment. Then Richard Samuel, followed by Trevor Crehan, Greg Pillsworth and John Garfoot. Those 5 riders not eligible, which means that instead of it being a 1 in 95 chance, you've got a 1 in 90 chance of getting the first one, 1 in 89 for the second, 1 in 88 for the third, 1 in 87 for the fourth, and 1 in 86 chance of winning the 10th and last prize. That's going to be on Thursday on a course, Russ, that you're going to find interesting, because you've not done it on the version that I've put in the ride, which is going to make things a little bit more interesting for you. We'll keep you on your toes.
Yeah, I know roughly what it is. I know the map, but I don't think I might have done it. Just pottering around France on my own, but I've definitely not done it as a chain gang and in a group ride. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
It's
a bit easier than tonight.
It's got a very different profile, that's for sure, and it's we may well put both up on the screen simultaneously next week, on Tuesday. Sorry, just so that people can see the radical difference between the two. But it's Flat Thursday is back for OTE, and it should, I think, we're going to produce some great group riding to start off with. But then, as we hit those climbs, things are going to get very interesting indeed, with a climb back up towards the Von Top, but diving off down the Petite KOM. And then we've got the aqueduct just before the sprint into the finish at the Pavé Sprint. So going to be interesting to see just how that rolls out. Relatively short, but with some climbing in it still. So I think it's 266 metres. So not the flattest, and they come in 3 distinct lunks. Aqueduct KOM one way, up the climb, the reverse of the Petite KM, and then the aqueduct second time as well. So going to be really interesting to see how that breaks up. But yeah, I think if you watch Russ's feed, make sure you give him a follow. Then you're going to be able to catch up with Russ, and you never know, you might get a little bit of a sneak preview of Russ being out on the course. If people want to follow you, Russ, where can they get hold of you? On Facebook and on Zwift and Strava and anything else you're on as well? Instagram.
Anywhere they wish, just Russ Downing, you'll find me.
So Russ Downing
follow me wherever you wish.
On all of social media. We're going to let Russ dive off as Tim makes his way in towards the line. Cheers, Russ. Thank you very much. We'll catch up with you on Thursday.
Cheers, mate, and thanks to all riders, and yeah, big thanks to OTE, and yeah, fill your baskets, get recovered. See you Thursday. Definitely.
Well, one man who's going to be able to do that is this man. It is Tim Leary. Tim winning our OTE prize. Great ride by Tim. Then you can just see quickly easing off. Set a new PB on the way through as well. And Tim, the rider who is taking away one of those prizes of 5. Now, Mark Tickhill just kicking off here away from Fiona Marshall here. And looks like Ticker's going for it on that final section, but look at this. I think Marshall is on a bit of a mission here, because Marshall, as she gives it a little bit of a kick here, could be closing down. Marshall with some great tasting caps. So it's the only bit of the map kit that anybody should ever be left wearing is the map cap. just taking that left-hand turn. So Marshall at the moment just distanced a little bit from our leading rider. That is going to be Tickers, who's on his way into the line. Tickers should get this. Marshall behind, not able to push on enough to close down this man. Ticker's going to put a sprint in as well. He knows where that finish line is. Another member of the DCG gang coming in and over the line. So Mark Tickle on his way through. Great to see the Sitwell Club in action. The Sitwell with some great coaching, actually, I noticed on the Yorkshire page. Next in, Fiona Marshall the second. We have two Fiona Marshalls. You can get the first and second depending on which way around you come in and across the line. Good to have Fiona with us. And don't forget, of course, we're back on Thursday as well. Now, our next Women's Only Wednesday is going to be next Wednesday, not this week, but next week. And I think it's Greater London Flat for the Women's Only Wednesday, led by Emma, who's in action racing, one of our regular AO riders as well. So the AO rider, Emma, one of the Donny Chaingang coach riders, going to be leading the Women's Only Wednesday as usual. That's going to be on Greater London Flat on Wednesday. Thursday this week, second of our OTE rise on OTE week on the Donny Chaingang. 5 more prizes going out to members of the DCG gang. If you want to know what that's all about, supporting the Chaingang and helping keeping it working, then make sure that you dive on to the Donny Chaingang Facebook page, onto the website, or click onto the links off Facebook or the website as well. And you can be a member to join in, donate, help us, and of course get all of the insider information as Jim Flynn comes in through the line with one of our fantastic superstar red beacons. Jason Stevens doing an amazing job today. A really, really tough day to be red beacon, and came through it with flying colours today. So as Jason now heads down towards the warm down point, all of our rides have that warm down built into them. Don't forget, make sure you sign up, make sure you subscribe to the Donny Chaingang YouTube channel to make sure you keep on getting all of the footage coming through. Get into the gang. Remember, 30%, yes, 30% discount for all of the members of the DCG gang on OTE a week as well. Lots of big discounts from Halo, OTE Veloskin, 1080, as well as Grand Tour Coffee and Gritty on the way through. So from me, Matt Payne, from everybody on the Chain Gang, I want to say a massive thank you for watching. Please make sure you're back on Thursday. Let's see how that route plays out. And in the meantime, enjoy your riding. I'll see you on Thursday on the Donny Chaingang.